Hey, game designers. In this video, being part two of our cinematic project here, I'm going to go over how to set up all the cameras. And then lastly, we'll do the whole sequencing, which I think you guys can get on your own if you need to follow the guide. So let's go and get started. Let's go ahead and just organize just a little bit here. Okay, so again, we have our grassland level. We have our sequencer up and running. Again, we have the drone and the animation. Now let's go ahead and get a little bit organized here. We're going to hit the plus the right click sign here, and when we create a folder, we're going to call these My Cameras. Okay, and let's go ahead and create a bunch of cameras. I actually don't know what this one is. Let me delete this one. I think this one was created by accident or something. All right, so My Cameras, and let's go ahead and add some cameras. Oh, we have an independent camera already. So let's go ahead and do this independent camera. So this independent camera is designed to kind of capture the beginning of the drone kind of coming in and looking at the scene. Let's see if I could get the numbers for us here. Or actually, let's just go do it in order. I think we'll be fine. So let's go ahead and do it in order. We'll come back to this independent camera later. Let's go ahead and hit the menu here, Windows, place actors, which is up here. And we're going to place the first one is going to be a crane. So the crane is meant to design to go and look around the scene. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a crane and drop it directly into here. And if you drop it into here, the location should be 000. So I'm going to go ahead and drag the crane and drop it in. Okay, this will add the actor here. And let's go ahead and get the camera as well. So let's go ahead and grab a camera. I'm going to grab the camera in and drag it in here. Okay. And let's go ahead and start naming these so that we know which one is which. So now that we've dropped in a camera, let's go ahead and move all of our actors to the top. Okay. And let's go ahead and name this camera. So inside my outliner window, F2 is the hotkey to name a camera. I'm going to hit F2, and I'm going to name this crane camera. Okay, crane camera. So this is the rig, and this is the actual camera. So the first thing we're going to do is teach you guys how to attach this camera to this crane. Because parenting and unparenting are considered things that can be keyframed, we need to add it as an actual track. So I'm going to attach it to the crane. Okay, starting on frame 0. And from that point forward, it should stay as a child of the crane. So let's go ahead and double click on the crane. And you can see here that the camera is attached directly to the end of the crane. So that's very good. So let's go ahead and give us some numbers here. And I'm not going to, again, when you click, once you child the camera on the crane, it actually shows you the crane rig camera view and what it's viewing. So let's go ahead and click on this and see what our transform is. So we're right smack in the middle of our scene. Let's go ahead and increase the arm length to 1500. You can see the arm has gotten larger, okay? And again, what we're really trying to do is keyframe these things when you have the right shot that you want. So I'm gonna go ahead and move the yawn over here or so. And because I want to get kind of this view of the scene. And what I want to do now is kind of aim the camera at the ground. So I'm gonna click on the look at options, which is right here. I'm gonna check it, enable it, and I'm gonna enable on the ground. So there's actually the ground right here, so it's looking at it. So now that I got it completely focused on the ground, no matter how I move the crane, so you can see here, no matter how I move the crane, right, it is looking at the ground. So let's go and go to the crane, and yes, I could use transformation rotation, but I'd rather just use the yawn, which is what it's designed for. So I just want to capture kind of a side view, kind of a little bit higher, maybe like that. Okay, so I'm somewhere over here, and that's where I like this shot right here. Again, you're looking at the shot. That's what's really important here, is the shot. Are you capturing like the top of that tree? You're not cutting everything off. That's kind of the shot that I want starting. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and keyframe these things by hitting the little keyframe. Keyframe the pitch, the yawn. I don't need to put the arm length. I don't imagine I'm going to change it. Okay, and I'm gonna do it for about 120 seconds. So I'm gonna go to like 130 or something. And at 130, I just want this thing to revolve. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on the yawn here and move it as such. You can see here, this is kind of like where I want the shot to end, but I don't want to cut out these trees so much. So I'm going to do both pitch and yawn and kind of move around and have it kind of move in a spiral, but kind of sliding upward. So now if you scrub through, right, this is the shot that I got. And that's kind of beautiful. That's all I really wanted, right? And again, it's only going to be cut for about 120 seconds. So this should be plenty. And actually, I don't want to see this, but whatever. Okay, so that is our first shot. Let's go ahead and do the crane now. So let's go ahead, I'm sorry, the rail. So let's go ahead and collapse this and move on to the next camera. So we're going to go to place actors. We're going to add a rail to our scene. And I'm going to just drop it into the scene somewhere over here. And actually, I don't like that. So what I'm going to do instead is show you guys a good way how to set up the location. So I'm actually going to grab the rail right into our scene here. Okay, and it's going to be a camera rail. And as you can see, the rail, if you go back to our outliner window, is right here in the ground. Okay, right, and we're going to move this rail to the position of our drone. So let's go ahead and look at our drone, the actor, right? So let's go and click on the actor. And the great thing about Unreal is that when you click on the actor, you actually get to see its path of trajectory, right? So this is on frame 120. It's about to like move and start dipping and try to move its head and kind of go along this path. So I'm going to say right about here is when I want to capture this scene or this shot of that drone, okay? So that position is important and relevant. So I'm just going to round this up to like 220 or something. And again, guys, I'm not too concerned. If you guys want to get the exact numbers that we use when we made this thing, it's fine. But I think the point is that we have the right shot, not so much the exact numbers. So again, we have 220 is where the drone's about to make its kind of straight line scanning path. And now I'm going to use this rail to create a camera that kind of captures a close-up as it flies right by this camera. So here is the rail. I'm going to go back to actors. I'm going to place another camera into our scene. And then now I'm going to go ahead and rename this camera real quickly because this is a very bad name. Let's go ahead and go in the outliner and rename it. Okay, it's F2 to rename. I'm going to call this thing the rail camera. Okay, and again, just like before, I want to attach it, right? I'm going to attach it to the rail. I'm going to click on this plus sign, attach to the rail. Okay, and now I'm going to go to the rail and make sure that its transformation information is all zeroed out. Okay, so it is attached to the rail right now. It's all zeroed out. So here it is. The camera rig rail is at 0, 0. Okay, and now my goal is to move this rail to the same location as my drone. So let me double click on my drone, show you guys where it is right now. Okay, so I'm going to use the copy location feature. So under transform, you can right click on any object and copy its location. And then you're going to go to the rail and go to the rail now and right click and paste this location. And voila, the rail is now right on the drone. So that kind of helps us figure out where we want to go. So again, I'm going to go ahead and this is the hard part. Is that these widgets are kind of hard to click on. I'm going to click on this one right here and move it. Okay. Now I want to move it in the plane going this way. Okay. And I want to move it along the same trajectory as the drone. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move to the end of the shot of the drone. So I'm click on the drone, right? And it kind of makes a fly past kind of right over here. So I'm going to kind of move this like way over here. So let's say right about there, okay, somewhere around here. Okay, so that is the shot that I want from here to here. So I'm going to grab this location, right click, copy, go into the click on this right here and move it to where the drone is, right? So actually I meant to copy that. I just got to left click and drag this. So I'm going to drag this. And again, I'm trying to get a good view of this. Where is my drone? My drone's over there. Okay, so I'm going to grab this corner and kind of get right on there. Okay. And again, I'm trying to move it right on the drone or close as I can. You can see that I'm a little bit low, so I'm going to kind of pull it down just a little bit here. So now I think if I move my scrub through, it's kind of got the same trajectory as the drone, right? So I got the beginning point and the end point, right? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the middle of this and just move it over to the left. Because I don't, oh, this is actually the bend. I take that back. That is the bend of it. I don't think I want to move the bend of it. I wonder if I can just move the entire thing. I don't know if this moves the end or moves the, yep, yeah, it moves the entire thing. Good. So what I want to do is just move it over to the left a little bit. So I'm going to grab this plane, just move it a little bit to the right of the drone, right? Probably a little bit more, so that it kind of drives parallel to the drone. Let's go ahead and scrub through. All right, good. So it's driving kind of parallel to it, which is what I wanted. Okay. Now let's go ahead and go to the camera, and the same thing like we did with the first one is that we need to use the look at feature and look at the drone. So I'm gonna click on this, click on the drone, and now the shot is on the drone. Okay. And the last thing I'm gonna do, again, now so if I scrub through, this thing is just gonna look at the drone. Okay. I need to actually, before I do that, there's two things I need to do. I need to kind of move this drone along this rail. So I'm going to start keyframing. So again, let's say I want to do this shot around 220. I'm not actually quite sure what the numbers are, but let's say around 220 is when I want to start capturing this drone moving in. And we could always change these numbers later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hotkey where it is on the rail, and that is found on the rail. So you can see here the rail controls. Right now I'm at position 0. Sometimes your rail is the other way around. You might use position 1, but I am going to hotkey it at 220. Okay, and then I'm going to go to the length in which it about ends at the rail. So I'm going to go about 400. And at 400, I'm going to keyframe this at position 1. You can see here as I move this, the camera moves with it. So it's kind of moving in parallel with the drone. I'm going to keyframe this. Okay, and now as I scrub through, you'll see now the camera kind of follows the drone. Okay, all right. So the only thing I'm going to do left is I'm going to go in and move this thing and shorten it. Okay, I want to shorten this by a significant amount. So I'm going to shorten it like so, because I want to move slower than the actual drone. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can click on that one. And my hope is that I don't actually move the, yep, great, I was able to move the node. You can see here, so I'm going to move very, very short, right? I kind of want to see it fly by. So you can see the shot that I have right now at around 220, right? So there's my shot at 220, right? And if I scrub through, it's going to fly by me, right? And then move out. Now, to kind of get the shot that I want, I'm going to show you guys a little bit of camera, how to adjust your cameras. So here's the rail camera. And the rail camera, the camera options are found under here. Nope, actually, I take that back. Is it here under camera, under current camera settings, lens settings, right under the focus settings? You can change. Sorry, actually, it's actually found right here. So under focal length and aperture and the focal distance, you can control how much thing is in how to change the zoom. So in this case, this is the zoom. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit because I don't want the drone to kind of like be cut off. So I'm going to kind of lower this just a little bit. So you can see it as it's flying by. That's perfect. Okay. And the aperture. Okay. So the aperture, again, you kind of hover over it, kind of tells you what it is. So it tells you how much you want to keep the sky in focus, right? So the bigger the number, the more things are in focus. The lower the number, the less things are in focus. So I'm going to go to, I don't know, I'm going to say a good number is, let's go 4 for now. Okay, and that looks pretty good. Okay, I'm actually going to turn my perspective back to default here because a lot of you guys don't have that view. Okay, so there is our shot for that camera. So that makes 2 cameras, and let's go ahead and, where's that independent camera? Let's go ahead and drag our cameras back into the My Camera folder so that we're organized here. So that makes 3 of them. Let's do one for the follow camera. The follow camera is the most easiest one. It's the only one camera that we're going to put that is not going to be like on the character. So I'm going to go ahead and drag a SYN camera into it here again. And this one we're going to rename right away, F2. And we're going to call this the follow camera. So let's call it the drone follow camera. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to attach it. I'm gonna click on the track, attach, and we're gonna attach it to the drone itself. Okay, and when attach it, and it's gonna tell you what socket or bone to track or follow. We're gonna attach it to the root. Okay, so now if you guys scroll to the top, you should see the drone attached to the and it looks like did we attach it the entire time? Let's see. Where's the camera right now? Oh, it looks like we did not. Okay, so this is a mistake on my part. Make sure that when you attach, you guys see here, this is the attach, that this attach is a keyframeable thing. So I keyframed it at 167. That's not correct. So you can always extend it. We're going to extend it beyond the beginning of the 1 whole second before the shot even begins, and we're going to drag it well beyond it. So this camera stays behind it. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to frame 0, and let's go ahead and talk about where we want it to be located. Actually, let's go to -30, since we already attached that -30. I'm gonna go ahead and click on the drone and click on my camera. And what I wanna do is move this using the local XYZ and just go ahead and drag the camera behind the drone. Okay, and then I'm gonna set again the look at to look at the drone. So under look at, we're gonna enable this. We're gonna enable the drone. So it should be the drone. Okay, so it's looking at the drone. You can see that it's like way too close right there. Okay, move it up a little bit. And again, we're looking at it. I want to see kind of those blue wings. Okay, and now we can do some adjustments. Actually, I think I can change the focal length so that I can move a little bit closer. Okay, so let's go like focal length 30. I can actually control the distance here. So something like that, okay? And the most important feature is that you allow roll. Because this thing is gonna roll, this plane's gonna roll. Let me show you what happens looks like when you don't roll it, right? You see how like the orientation of the drone is kind of back and forth. And that's again, if that's what you like, that's fine. But if you allow roll, let's go ahead and go back and hit play and see how it looks. You can see that it kind of follows the same roll of the drone, right? So that's allowing the roll. All right, so now that we have this, let's go ahead and just work on focus because it's a little bit out of focus, I think. And actually, we do want to see it and we do want to see the background. So we want to probably increase the aperture. But you can see here that when it's low aperture, you only have certain things in focus, like the background. And maybe that's what you're after. So again, the aperture controls how much things are in focus, like the range of things that are in focus. When you have a small aperture, this is very focused, and these are not very focused, right? But if you zoom out further and further out, you'll have more things in focus. 22 being the largest range of focus, meaning that this is in focus and this is in focus, but the clarity might not be as good. It's all things to do with natural cameras. Okay. And I think that's good. We're going to kind of want to see the background and see a good look at the drone. You can control how you like the shot. That is up to you. But that is the point of this camera, is to kind of follow the drone as it's flying through. And again, you can control like distance and whatnot if you feel like you want to have, this thing start out a little bit farther so you can see a little bit more. That's totally up to you. Let's see if I'm grabbing the right thing here. Yep. Right? If you want to capture more of the scene, right? You can move it out. You can move the focal length a little bit more in, right? Control the shot however you want. Okay? So that's that camera. And then we have one more camera to do, which is the look camera of the bird or the chicken. So I'm going to click on the chicken and double click on it. This is our chicken. We're going to do the first one. And the goal of this one is kind of get the perspective of the chicken as it's looking at the drone. Okay, so we're gonna have the chicken in the corner, and then we wanna see it kind of over its shoulder. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab another camera. I'm gonna go ahead and place it into our game here. I'm gonna go back to the outliner, hit F2, and let's change it real quick. This is gonna be the chicken camera. I'm gonna drag the chicken camera into my cameras. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and copy the location of the bird. And I'm not gonna make it a child of the bird, I'm just making an independent camera here. I'm gonna copy the location. I'll go back to my chicken camera, go to transform location and paste it. And voila, the camera is literally right here. With the camera, I'm gonna go ahead and focus again on the drone. Okay, and I'm doing this on frame 1. So let's see. This thing is looking. I didn't enable it. There we go. So it's looking at the drone, but I do want to have the bird in its view as well, right? So let's go ahead and move this and move it slightly back. And now it's kind of hard to do it with the local. So I'm actually going to go ahead and go to world here. And then now I can move it kind of slightly behind the bird, but not inside. Okay. And I want to kind of look over its shoulder. So I'm kind of looking right here. My attention is over here. I'm looking at this. And I'm going to have to do some camera settings here. I'm going to have to put the focal length much more back, kind of like that. You see how I'm changing the focal length to be a little bit further away? That's my zoom, right? And maybe a little bit higher because I really just want to capture the corner of the bird. Kind of like that. Okay, and then I want to scrub through and see if I like the shot, right? And you can see here the drone kind of fly by and the bird kind of looks at it. I want to go a little bit more to the right. Get a little bit, there we go. Kind of a really perspective of from the bird's perspective, right? And again, I'm not going to use every one of these keyframes. I'm just kind of seeing how it's tracking and where I probably want it near the end of the shot and it kind of goes into the sky, right? So that's basically what I want. And there it is. That's all we want. Now, again, if you want things to be more in focus or you want to really focus on this, we did do a hotkey. So I'm going to show you guys how to hotkey the aperture, okay, or the focal length. So you see here the current focal distance. So I'm actually going to change this view to cinematic viewport. And I'm going to delete this one. And I'm going to click on the plus sign. And this is just to show you guys what it looks like from the chicken's camera's point of view. And let's move this all the way here. Just to see from the chicken's point of view here. I'm going to click on this button right here. And now you can see it, the cinematic from hitting this camera button, seeing it from the actual camera's point of view. So you can see exactly the shot you're going to get. So I definitely want this to be a little bit more higher. Okay. So I'm going to go back to my camera. And I think I have two chicken cameras because I think I accidentally hit delete or I accidentally hit copy or something. Edit, delete. Okay. How come I have another camera? I don't know what I did there. Uh-oh, guys. I'm hoping I didn't crash.